Hello and welcome back to Creative Pet Keeping. My name is Kasia, I am your host, and today once again there have been changes in the fish room. The area right over here that you can't really see just yet used to have a rack where I was housing a lot of the plants that I was keeping indoors for the winter that will later on go into my balcony. But alas, I do also have the heater right here, and there's been a lot of dry hot air and the plants are not happy, so they got moved out and this place became empty again. So because I like shifting things around in my fish room all the time, we ended up getting Daniel a little desk. So now he has a tiny spot in the fish room. It'll be his own little spot. And because he has a space, we decided to move my GLO BETTA, who we now named Lemon Drop, thanks to all the suggestions that you guys have provided in Instagram. I had a post about him and you guys voted for Lemon Drop, so that's gonna be his name. So we moved him from the kitchen. He was okay in the kitchen, but we don't really spend a whole lot of time in there, and it's a sad little place of darkness. So we decided to bring it back out into the fish room. Now, to make sure that he sort of fits in with the theme of the fish room, I decided to give his tank a little rescape, and I also wanted to make some adjustments because he does have vision problems. It is more difficult for him to find food, so I made a few adjustments here and there that will make the tank a lot easier for him to navigate and be able to find his food. So without further ado, let's get started and I'll show you how I changed up his tank. I started to take the tank apart. I moved Lemon Drop into a temporary container, unplugged everything so the heater in the back can cool off, started removing some of the decorations, and now I have to pour out the water, remove the sand, give it a little wipe, and move this over back into the fish room because I had it here in the kitchen because it didn't fit the fish room with the colorful gravel. It just looked really out of place. But now that I make it natural, it should blend right in. After removing all the gravel and cleaning the tank, I added some of my favorite substrate, I can't words. This stuff is kind of like in between the usual gravel that you could find at the pet store, like the coarser, bigger pebbles of gravel, but also it's not sand either. It's kind of in between both. So if you can't decide which one you like, this is actually kind of like a cool in-between, and what makes this a little better than the really fine sand is that it's a little easier to gravel vacuum this. When you get sand that is too fine, when you try to gravel vac, it'll suck it all up. So this is kind of a fun alternative. The other reason why I use this particular color is I wanted to make sure that Lemon Drop will be able to find his food a lot better. So against a light surface, I don't know how well he sees. I don't think he sees very well, but you know, I think it'll help. So over here, I decided to do a fun little project to kind of spruce things up, and I took some driftwood from another aquarium and then got my handy dandy thread, and I will be wrapping some moss all around the driftwood. This is kind of like a fun and easy way to create something really cool and to spruce up your tank, especially if you've ever watched a lot of these really cool aquascaping DIY videos and you see people make like really cool projects and then it's really awesome and inspiring. But then you're like, gosh, this looks complex. I don't ever want to try this because I don't think I will be able to do this. Well, try this. This is very easy. I actually am not very good at aquascaping at all. And that's what I at least think when I watch a lot of these really awesome people make like beautiful tanks. So I try little simple projects, and if you mess them up, that's totally okay. So here, I'm just wrapping it around, and I'm wrapping it around kind of loosely. You don't want to wrap it too tightly because you don't want to like constrict the moss, but at the same time you don't want it to be super loose that it kind of swims away. So this is like a super quick and easy way to spruce up any sort of driftwood, and eventually the moss will attach itself to the driftwood almost permanently, I would say. And the reason why I used thread instead of the super glue method is because I think it's a little faster, and I do like using super glue, but sometimes if you don't glue it right, what you're gonna have is these pieces that will come off and then the glue will stay behind and you'll have these white patches of the super glue, while with the thread you don't really see it, especially if you pick a really good color that kind of blends in with the type of moss or plant that you're using, as well as the color of the driftwood. And that thread will over time actually dissolve in the water, and you know, as the moss attaches, it will just disappear, and then you're gonna have a cool kind of driftwood with some mossiness on top. It's a very simple way to spruce things up. So over here, I'm going to be adding some corkscrew jungle val that I hope will kind of fill in the back. Now, I'm not filling this tank in too much. I'm using a lot of simple plants. I'm not making this too fancy pantsy, and I'm kind of winging it as I go because I'm not an aquascaper. I don't know how to do these things. I just, to the best of my ability, set up a tank, and I'm always trying to also think about the fish. So in this case, I'm kind of thinking about lemon drop and thinking, you know, what can I put in that will make it easy for him to swim around and not get stuck anywhere, but also feel safe enough that, you know, he's not going to freak out because he does have vision impairments, while at the same time being able to find food really easily. So right here, I kind of am attempting to do the same thing that I did with the driftwood, but this time I am using a little pebble that I have, and I use a different color thread, which is green, and I got some more moss, and I'm just going to use the little pebble to weigh it down. So this moss is a combination of predominantly Subwassertang and then another type of moss that I have no clue what it is. So I kind of wanted the Subwassertang to kind of grow very big over time, but it will kind of float around as it does. So it's kind of good to secure it down, and you can gently do that with any sort of kind of heavy object, in this case a little pebble. And it'll kind of hide it, and then you can just kind of play around with wherever you want to put it. Here I put it on top of a rock, then I put it down here, and I kind of thought about it and just played around with it. I usually just improvise the whole thing. I just move things around. I kind of put it on the rock, but you'll see later I moved it away from the rock, and I ended up completely changing it, and I ended up propping up the little mossy wood, and this is sort of kind of what I ended up doing. I don't really know if I'll be changing this little tiny, I don't even know if I can call it escape over time, but I'm kind of happy with how this turns out. It's quite simple. Lemon Drop did actually end up snagging his tail on the Anubias a little bit, but that's okay. And I also added some shrimp friends to his tank. Now, at first, I was kind of concerned because you have to be very careful when you are adding shrimp to your aquarium because your betta can prey on them, you know, kind of munch on them or attack them or chase them around. In this case, Lemon Drop can't really see them. I mean, he can probably see the movement. He sees it's some sort of like dark something moving around, but he's not really sure what to think about it. So I think that he can definitely share his home with these Blue Dream Neocaridina shrimp. And the other function that they will provide is if I drop any food in and after, you know, a couple hours he still can't find it, then they will be able to kind of be the little cleanup crew, as well as the little snails that I have here as well. It kind of looks like everyone's lined up for the shrimp food buffet. So that's sort of it. This tank is, you know, not the fanciest, but it's a little upgrade. It's a cute little more natural home. It's got, you know, some Indian almond leaves, some natural plants, some shrimpy friends being really cute and adorable with his little grabby claws. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. And by the way, I got these guys from Jason from Primetime Aquatics, who originally got them from Flip Aquatics, who is our channel sponsor. So if you want to buy some shrimp and you want them shipped to you, definitely check out flipaquatics.com. That is their not official jingle. I just totally made them up, but you definitely should. So here is a closer look. As you can see, you can kind of see the string, but not really, not that much. The thread is very thin and it sort of blends in and it works out pretty well. So that is my tank. And now this tank is kind of the buddy of Daniel. He gets to look at it and enjoy it as he plays his video games in the fish room. Doo-doo-doo. Thanks for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. What do you think of this tank? Do you like it? Do you prefer the old one better? And what do you think of the orange rock? I don't know why I insist on having the orange rock in my aquariums. It never fits in any tank, and I think I found a tank that fits because, you know, lemon drop is weird, the orange rock is weird. It's, you know, they go together. Maybe it works, I don't know, but let me know down in the comments below. And I would also like to know your opinion. Do you prefer natural setups, or do you like fake plants and fake gravel and fake decorations, or do you like both? Personally, I'm the kind of person that I like both. I do more natural setups in my tanks, but I still like colorful gravel. I like the fun decorations, and I think fake plants have their purpose. In my personal opinion, I like adding them into quarantine tanks, for example, because they're very easy to disinfect and provide fish with some security and cover. So I mean, there's pros and cons. I would like to know your opinion, so let me know down below, and I hope to see you in the next video.
I'm not broken.